In the midst of World War II, a group of extraordinary heroes emerged, forever changing the course of military communications. These came from the Navajo Nation, brave men who were recruited by the U.S. Marine Corps to develop an unbreakable code using their native language. The complexity and uniqueness of Navajo made it an ideal choice for secure military communication, as it was unwritten and unknown to anybody outside the Navajo Committee. The Navajo Code Talkers' contributions were pivotal in several key battles in the Pacific Theater. Their encoded messages, transmitted with unparalleled speed and accuracy, ensured that vital information about troop movements, tactics, and supplies remained secure from enemy interception. The code they created was never broken, providing the Allies with a strategic advantage that significantly contributed to their victories. These unsung heroes not only showcased their linguistic prowess, but also their unwavering patriotism and bravery. The legacy of the Navajo Code Talkers shows that cultural diversity and ingenuity can play a role in achieving extraordinary feats, even in the most challenging circumstances. Their story is a remarkable chapter in the history of World War II. In the century leading up to the emergence of the Navajo Code Talkers, the Navajo people faced enormous challenges and transformations. So in the mid-19th century, the Navajo, or the Diné, endured significant hardships due to conflict with the government. For instance, the Long Walk of 1864 was the culmination of this conflict, a forced relocation where thousands of Navajo were marched from their homelands in what's now Arizona and New Mexico. They were moved to a place called Bosque Redondo, an internment camp in eastern New Mexico. The grueling journey and subsequent harsh conditions led to immense suffering and loss of life. After several years of hardship, the Navajo were allowed to return to a portion of their homeland in 1868, following the signing of a treaty with the government. This treaty established a Navajo reservation, marking a period of rebuilding and adaptation. Despite the difficulties of displacement, the Navajo demonstrated remarkable resilience, gradually reestablishing their communities, agriculture, and livestock herding. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Navajo were faced with the pressure of modernization and the encroaching cultural influence of American assimilators. Many Navajo were sent to boarding schools, like the ones in Phoenix, where they were forced to abandon their language and traditions in favor of English customs. These pressures were onerous, but the Navajo maintained a strong cultural identity and a deep connection to their languages and traditions. By the early 20th century, the Navajo Nation had begun to see improvements in infrastructure and education, albeit slowly and unevenly. They discovered natural resources like oil and minerals on Navajo land, which allowed them to preserve their language and cultural heritage. It was this deep-rooted cultural heritage that the Marine Corps recognized and deployed during World War II. The recruitment of the Navajo Code Talkers began with a recognition of their potential strategic advantage. Initially, the concept of using native languages for secure communication had been explored in World War I with Choctaw soldiers. During World War II, Philip Johnston, a civil engineer and World War I veteran who had grown up on a Navajo reservation and spoke the language fluently, proposed the idea to the Marine Corps. He believed that the Navajo language, with its complexity and lack of written form, would make an excellent code. Johnston arranged a demonstration for the Marine officials in early 1942, showcasing how the Navajo language could be used to create the code. The demonstration was a success, convincing the military of the feasibility of the idea. Following the successful demonstration, the Marine Corps sought to recruit Navajo men who were fluent in both Navajo and English. In April 1942, the first group of 29 Navajo recruits were enlisted at Fort Wingate in New Mexico. These initial recruits were chosen for their linguistic skills, physical fitness, and willingness to serve. Upon their arrival at Camp Pendleton, California, the Navajo recruits underwent basic training alongside other Marines. Afterwards, they began to develop the code, which included creating a dictionary and numerous code words. They devised a system where Navajo words represented military terms, with additional layers of encoding for added security. For instance, the Navajo word for turtle was used to represent a tank, and the word for chicken hawk represented a dive bomber. As the efficacy of the code was proven in the field, the program expanded. More and more Navajo men were recruited and trained as code talkers. By the end of the war, about 400 Navajo code talkers had served in the U.S. Marine Corps, playing crucial roles across the Pacific Theater. These code talkers were sworn to secrecy about their mission. They were instructed to not reveal the existence or details of the code even to their fellow Marines. a secrecy that was maintained long after the war. The program remained classified until 1968. The Code Talkers played a crucial role in the Pacific Theater, as I said. Their contributions were instrumental in several key operations and battles. Here's how they helped. First off, secure communications. Their primary function was to provide secure and fast communication that the enemy could not decipher. Using a code based on the Navajo language, they transmitted vital information about troop movements, tactical plans, and battlefield orders. The complexity and exclusivity of the Navajo language ensured that these communications were completely secure from Japanese interception and decryption efforts. At the Battle of Guadalcanal, between 1942 and 1943, the Navajo Code Talkers allowed for the secure coordination of marine units and supply lines, which was crucial for the success of the prolonged and intense campaign to take control of this island. At the Battle of Iwo Jima in 1945, we have maybe the most famous instance of the Code Talkers' contributions. During this battle, they transmitted about 800 messages without a single error. This work included relaying critical information about troop positions and coordinating artillery and air support, which played a significant role in the force's ability to capture the island. Once again, the Battle of Okinawa in 1945, the Navajo Code Talkers proved indispensable. The island-hopping campaign leading up to and including the Battle of Okinawa required precise and secure communications to coordinate the movements of tens of thousands of troops and air and naval operations. They provided real-time encrypted communications which were vital for the success of these complex operations. Throughout the Pacific Theater, the Code Talkers were crucial in coordinating airstrikes and naval bombardments. They transmitted target locations, bombing coordinates, and movement orders that needed to be executed with precision to support ground troops and ensure minimal casualties. Their secure and rapid communications allowed for seamless coordination between different branches of the military. The Navajo Code Talkers' ability to encode, transmit, and decode messages quickly, often in a matter of seconds, provided a significant tactical advantage. This was so crucial during fast-paced battles where timely information could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Several really well-known individual Code Talkers have been recognized for their exceptional service. Here are some examples. Chester Nez was one of the original 29 Navajo Code Talkers who developed the code. He served with distinction throughout the war, and then he later recounted his experiences in a memoir, Code Talker. Peter MacDonald Sr. was one of the ones who served in the Pacific Theater, and after the war he became a prominent leader within the Navajo Nation, becoming chairman of the Navajo Nation. Carl Gorman, another person who helped develop the code, became a noted artist and educator after the war. And finally, Albert Smith was a Navajo Code Talker who was particularly vital during the Battle of Iwo Jima. He shared his experiences and advocated for the recognition of the Code Talkers' contribution. I hope you've learned something in this video and that you enjoyed learning about this. Until next time, thank you.